Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Harmonia and today we're gonna be talking about arena team building. But first, I would like to thank you guys so much for the 5K subs. It happened really fast. Like in 1 month, we got from 4K subs to 5K subs. So I didn't even have the time to plan anything. It was just really fast, and I'm really thankful for that. Seriously, thank you so much for all the love and support. This has been an amazing journey. But enough with the yada yada. When we talk about arena team building, you gotta understand that the most important thing in Guardian Tales when building a team are the party buffs. I'm gonna start with the basics, all right? So if you're already an older player, you can just skip a bit. So every hero in Guardian Tales has a party buff. For example, Gabriel, she has a 36% crit chance buff, while Marina, for example, has an HP percentage party buff. It's really simple. All you gotta do is click your hero and you see the party buff right here. This applies to all your party in all game modes in the game. I like to divide those buffs in two kinds. The first one I like to call the universal buffs: HP, crit chance, defense, skill damage, and weapon skill regen speed. But why are those universal? Those apply to any hero in the game. It doesn't matter if you're using a ranged hero, a support, a tank, or a warrior. All of those buffs are gonna be applied to them. You can just combine those buffs and everyone gets it. And the other branch of buffs are the limited buffs. Like ranged attack, melee attack, and elemental buffs like fire, basic. Why are those limited? Because if you're playing with a party and one of your heroes has a ranged buff, that means your other heroes will only benefit of that buff if they attack from afar, if they are ranged units. For example, if you put Beth here in this team, Gabriel has a crit chance party buff. She is buffing Nari and Beth, while Nari has a ranged party buff. She's gonna be buffing Gabriel and herself, but she's not buffing Beth by anything. And Beth is also not buffing Nari and Gabriel because they are ranged heroes. This means that all heroes in this party have one buff less. This means that every hero here is 33% weaker than any other hero in the game because he's lacking a buff. People are texting me. Okay. So, is it possible to use ranged heroes with melee heroes together? Yes, it is. But you're gonna mix them up with universal party buffs. For example, if you wanna mix melee heroes with ranged heroes, you gotta do something like this, for example. Future Princess has an HP party buff, and Ogma has a defensive party buff. So you wanna put another universal party buff here, like Future Knight. You're mixing two melee heroes with a ranged hero, and everyone's getting buffed. Everyone's getting their HP, their defense, and also their weapon skill regen speed buff. One thing that's really important is passives also apply to in arena and in every content of the game. So for example, this special ability, I call it passive, but the right term is special ability. For example, Ogma. He enhances the death of party members who have lower defense than him. Party members' death increased by 15%. Then it's just math. But what this means is, the more defense your Ogma has, the more defense your other heroes will have. Alright? So this not only works for Ogma, like every passive works. Like let's take Mayru for example. Mayru's special ability depends on being in a party with Bari. So as long as they are together, Bari is taking 30% less damage and Mayru is getting 30% extra attack. Because special abilities and buffs apply to arena and every other content in the game, alright? Going back to the team building. So you could also use other stuff here. For example, you could use Bianca. Everyone's getting buffed because she has a universal party buff. Her party buff is crit chance. But for example, if you put Nari here, then we start having problems because Future Princess and Ogma are not getting buffed. I mean, Future Princess has a ranged attack on her last hit, but she's gonna lose a lot of damage by not having one buff. Like Nari would be an hyper carry here because she's gonna be getting defense and HP while her buff buffs herself, but the other two are not. I mean, Ogma's chain skill deals ranged damage, and Ogma is kind of an special case because he's there to buff your defense. So it's really common to use a team, for example, like this, where Ogma is not getting a buff, but his passive is so strong that he turns your other two heroes into hyper carries. There are some scenarios where losing a buff is not a problem. Mostly with Agma. You should always try to build a team where everyone's getting buffed. So getting back to mixing things around. For example, if we use Noxia with Agma and I don't know, Mayru, everyone's getting buffed. Ogma is getting HP, he's getting the crit chance, Mayru is getting the defense, she's getting the HP. Everyone gets everything. That's what makes this team, for example, really strong. You could also use Future Knight here. But let's say you want to play full dark and you want to go with Beth here. There's a small issue with this team. Noxia deals ranged damage with her auto attacks, but her summon, Toto, does melee damage. This means that in this team, only Noxia's summon is getting buffed. Her auto attacks are not. But if you put Arabelle here, then everyone is getting buffed. Everyone gets everything. That's what makes this Mono Dark team really, really strong. Let's say you're playing with melee heroes. Your party buffs will determine the way you're gonna play the match. This team has 100% melee damage and only 40% HP. I do recommend having at least one defensive buff on your teams, otherwise your heroes would just explode. But why exactly? Because let's say you only have 40% HP, alright? As a defensive buff. So if you get countered, your chances to run around and play for your skill are lower because you have less defense, less HP to deal with harder matchups. So in a team like this, you gotta go all in. You gotta take advantage of your 100% melee buffs. You're gonna want to dogfight. But let's say we change Lilith for Ogma. This means your team is tanky now. It's way tankier than the one before. So you can play for the skill. You don't have to rush your matches. So depending on what team you're using, you're gonna have to adapt. Let's say you're playing this team. This team is a team made to play for the skill. You can't really dogfight anyone. Because if you fight, for example, this other team right here, we're not considering elemental advantage or disadvantage now, right? We're just talking about the buffs. The previous team has only crit chance and weapon skill regen speed, while this other team has ranged attack and crit chance. Both teams have Ogma. So let's say you're equal in terms of defense. Can you dogfight this other team? No. You probably won't be able to beat your opponent that has a ranged buff by dogfighting him with auto attacks. You're gonna have to play for your skill. So analyzing your opponent's party buffs, it's really important to know how you're gonna play that match. Like, let's say you're playing a full ranged team, like this, and you're going against this team. Well, both teams are really squishy and both teams have a lot of damage. So are you gonna stop to pick up boxes? No. If you're playing any team with these conditions, grabbing a box will give you enough time for your opponent to kill you, or you're gonna lose at least 60% of your health. So when to pick boxes? Boxes appear every 10 seconds in arena. In the first round, always a box will pop up right in the start of the round. Then it will pop up at 20 seconds and then at 10 seconds. So if you're planning on picking boxes, be aware of that. Let's say you're playing Ogma and you want to get as much boxes as you can. So when the timer is at 12 and you know the box will pop up at 10 seconds, you should already be positioning yourself to grab that box. Wow. So far we've talked about the party buffs and that analyzing the party buffs of your opponent is really important so you know how to play the match. But Harmonia, what about orders? Orders are a bit tricky because it really depends on the server you're playing. The meta changes according to the servers. Let's say you're playing the Cancer team, the Cancer meta team. What I like to do when I play teams like these that are in the same elemental cycle, like this one has basic, light, and dark. Let's say I'm gonna start with Future Princess. I like to put Lilith next, because if you lose to a basic hero, Lilith's there to cover. And the same goes if Lilith dies to a light hero, because Sohi's there to kill the light hero that killed her. There's a problem with this setup, because, for example, let's say you're playing Future Princess at first, and you lose to another Future Princess. This means your Lilith is gonna have a bad time. So you could also do another strategy like this, because Future Princess is not dying to a dark hero. I hope not. It can happen. If you're playing like this, like no dark hero will pass through Future Princess, so you have Zoe. So it's like a matter of strategy, you know? I always place my orders according to what counters me and what counters the counter. So if I'm playing this setup, I'm always gonna be going for this order. Let's say I change Lilith. I wanna play Lilith first. What kills Lilith? Light. What kills light? Basic. So this is the order I'll choose. That's all about strategy. Like let's say I'm using Scintilla here. So then what I like to do normally, I like to change the elemental circles. For example, Sohi is in the basic light dark circle, while Scintilla is in the earth, fire, water circle. I like to mix it up, you know, I like to put them like this. Let's say you're playing Lin, and Lin is your first hero, and you're usually having trouble against future princesses. So put a basic hero next after her. Or you can even put another future princess. It's all a matter of strategy. But don't ever do like this, because you know what happens in that scenario. Everyone's losing a buff, and everyone is weaker. If you're starting in Guardian Tales and you're building your first arena team, what I recommend is try to use as many universal buffs as possible, just to start. Let's say like Noxia is a really good hero with a universal party buffs that has multiple functions, as well as Future Princess. And I don't know, let's say Gabriel. Those are universal heroes, but like Gabriel doesn't really fit here because Gabriel needs damage. Gabriel needs a ranged buff to work. And Gabriel heals herself. This means that using an HP buff on Gabriel is not very effective. Gabriel heals for 22k, for example. If her HP is higher, her healing won't be as effective as if she had a defense party buff. Because if we pair her up with Agma, for example, pairing Gabriel with Agma results in her taking less damage because she has higher defense. If she has higher defense, her healing will be more effective. You know where I'm trying to get here? The best setup for Gabriel would be something like this. You gotta understand how your heroes work and how to make good teams with them. But like, Harmonia, are you saying never to use Gabriel with an HP party buff? No, you can use it. But if you want to extract the best out of Gabriel, you're gonna need a defensive buff and a ranged buff. But that doesn't mean you can't use her in a team like this. I've used it so many times in Master Arena. In this team, Noxia is gonna be the heavy carry here, because Noxia gets a defense buff and she gets a crit buff. Like, I think the best buff for Noxia, other than the dark buff, is gonna be the crit buff, because it applies to her and to her summon, meaning she's getting damage on both with only one buff. Because if you're using ranged, only Noxia gets the buff. If you're using melee, only Toto gets the buff. So that's why these teams really strong. Mario is a weapon skill hero, meaning she needs defensive buffs to play for her skill, while she gives crit to Agma and Noxia, who also benefit a lot from her crit, you know? So this is really important when building a team. In Master Arena, ideally, you want 5 heroes that synergize with each other. Because if 2 of your heroes get banned, you have the other 3 to use. If your heroes build are Nari, Gabriel, Beth, Ogma, and Future Princess, and Ogma and Future Princess get banned, that means you're gonna have to build a team like this. And this means you're gonna lose, probably. Because, as I said before, everyone's losing 33% of their power, mathematically speaking. Also, the map is really important. The team you're going to use should vary according to the map. Like next week, we're gonna have Deathmatch. This is a full open map. So, heroes like Vishuvek, Bari, yeah, Bari, they're good here because there are no obstacles. Knowing the map is really important to know what you're gonna play. For example, in Master Arena, this week in Master Arena, we have Shane City Ring map. This map is awful for ranged heroes. So if you only have ranged heroes raised and you're having a bad time here, don't be mad. You don't suck. It's just really hard. Like it's really hard to play ranged heroes here. If you're seeing my arena videos, I'm playing melee just because this map's on. Because if I want to rank up, I'm not gonna be able to do it with ranged heroes. I mean, I could, but it's gonna be way harder. So knowing the map and what team you're gonna use is really important. For example, you can't use Marina in that map that it's full of rocks, or in the closed classroom one. Those are really hard maps for melee heroes. Not for Future Princess. Princess is just cancer. And that's it, guys. I really hope this video helps you out. And if there's any doubts, any questions, or anything you want to tell me, just leave me in the comments and I'll be happy to answer, alright? Thank you so much for watching.